Hi, how are you? Welcome to our video. We're here in Ballinasloe Library with Gaia, and Gaia is going to be made over as Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy today. My name is Michelle Ruane and I'm a painter and makeup artist, and I love working as a makeup artist because I get to meet different people all the time and go on great adventures that I really enjoy. So I'm starting off today on Gaia and I'm using this Elmer's glue stick. It's actually the first day I've used the Elmer's because usually I use Pritt Stick, but I've heard this is really good, so I'm going to be using this for today. Okay, so I'm just putting the product through her brows. So what this is going to do is it's going to flatten the hair, and Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy has very slim brows, and you can see Gaia here has beautiful thick brows. So we're going to cover these up and replace them with thin brows as we turn her into Gamora. This is easier to do on a model that would have a lighter colour brow, hair, so it takes a bit more time when the person has dark brows. So here we go, this is working really well. I'm going to use some translucent powder. This is a Catrice one. It can be bought in Penneys or any pharmacy. And on a poofy brush, I'm just going to pat this over to set the glue. Translucent powder is a great product to have on your kit because it makes makeup last much longer and it sets pretty much any foundation or grease paint that you will be using. So now it's time to cover the brows with some concealer just to get a flat base. So for this I'm going to use a flat brush. So this is just any regular concealer that you would have at home. If your whole look was going to be skin colour, how you would hide the brows better would be to conceal first with the red, because it would counteract the darkness, and then powder and then concealer. But because we're going to be using green later on, I'm not going to go into that much detail today. This is the picture I'm using as my reference point. So you can see it's a very, very green. So I'm going to use this grease paint with a thick foundation brush. So Gaia has beautiful skin and she doesn't have any open pores or anything like that, so I didn't use a primer. But if you have more texture in your skin, I would use a primer before this. So I'm just looking at her here. She has kind of bluey turquoise lips, and then we have a lighter green around the eyes, kind of a yellowy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some yellow in with the green we have, and that'll give us a lighter colour. So I'm just looking at the shape. It kind of arches here. So this is a grease paint that I'm using. It's not water based. So the differences between grease paint and water paint is grease paint is really easy to blend and it doesn't set until you put a powder over it. But there is good things and bad things about using grease over water. So water would give you more of a definite line. So if you have your snazzaroos at home or paints like that, they're water-based. So grease paint would be acrylic or it would be eyeliner. Some eyeliners are grease-based. So by putting a powder over the grease paint, you're setting it. So I'm going to use some powder eyeshadow to set the grease paint here as well. Another alternative would be the translucent powder that we used earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an eyeshadow colour for the lips. I think I'm going to go with this one. So I'm going to mix in this Pigment Transformer. It's like a Duraline. It makes products waterproof. So that's what I'm going to use. So it's exactly the right colour I need. Okay, I'm using a square brush for this. So it's coming out really vibrant, which is exactly what I wanted. Sometimes you can mix, if you mix a little less eyeshadow, you'll get a more transparent one, but this one is quite opaque, so that's what I wanted. So that's a nice little trick to cross the brush over each time, give you a nice shape in the lips, and then drag down. Okay, I'm happy with those lips. I think they look good. I'm actually going to use the same product for the brows because I think it's working really well, and I'm just going to mix in a little bit of dark blue as well to make it a slight bit darker. So I'm just going to go above the natural brow. So I'm going to use this brush, and I have a brown brow pomade here, so I think I'll use that. It's quite dried out, so I'm going to use a little bit of the Duraline in this as well, just to make it more workable. Yeah, so it's just easier to use if it's less thick. Okay, this is the tricky part. These lines are just above the brow, and there's a curve like this. So what I like to do is have your line thick to thin and lift. I can see that some of my grease paint is moving on me still here, so I'm just going to set that. So now we are going to take some false lashes. These ones were like $1.50 in pennies. And you can also get really good lashes in deals now at the moment as well that are $1.50. But this glue you would get in a chemist, it's called Duo. It's really good. And open. Does that feel okay? So I've usually, if I was putting these on you as a beauty makeup, I would cut them down to fit your eye because they're a little bit too big. They're extending over here, but that kind of works for this look. So I'm just going to leave them big. So I'm just going to pop on a little bit of metallic finishing powder. This will probably appear very shiny on camera. If you don't have a powder, another good fixer is hairspray. You can spray that all over your face to set the makeup. It's another good one. So I think we're nearly done. Just fix up this. Okay, do you want to have a look? See? It's cool on you. Maybe we should take down your hair.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Gamora, wow, thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi, we're here in Ballinasloe Library and Alessia has agreed to model for me today. So we are going to do a Wonder Woman character today. We're excited, very excited. So I'm going to start off with a foundation base. And I'm going to use this brush, foundation brush. So I'm just going to map out the shape of the Wonder Woman logo up here, because I don't need to do that up there. And for the rest of the skin, I'm just going to put on a base all over. So you can use any foundation you'd have at home. This one is Estee Lauder Double Wear. It's a full coverage foundation, but I've actually put through a little bit of MAC Face and Body. So it's good to work the foundation base into the skin. If you don't have a brush, you can use your fingers Your fingers are great for working foundation into the skin, probably better than a brush, but for hygiene reasons, I have to use a brush. Using the same brush, I'm going to pop on some concealer. So that's a great eyeshadow base there. And look up for me. Thank you. So just work it right up into the under the eye there. So now I'm going to take a powder brush, poofy brush like this, and I'm going to use my translucent setting powder again. And just pat it on the areas of the skin that would tend to get oily, because that's where the makeup would move. Now I'm going to add some blush, kind of peachy colour. Smile. So I'm going to just put it on the apple of the cheek and up and upwards. So if you want to make someone look youthful, you keep the lines up and out. If you were doing an aging makeup or something like that, you would pull lines down. So you can imagine if we were to age Alicia, we would be working on dragging lines down. But for Wonder Woman, she's a beautiful, vibrant young woman, so up. So we concentrate the product on the apple of the cheek and then blend up and out. Okay. Now, I'm going to put on this part up here, the gold. I'm going to use a flat square brush with my red colour. I wonder, does it matter if it's a 5-point star or a 6-point star? I'll go with the 5. Do you know if it matters if it's a 5-point star or a 6?
I really don't know.
No, I don't know either. I'm not sure.
But I think even 5 is okay.
Yeah, the one on the reference is 5, so let's go with that. So I've put this on with the grease, so I need to fix up around about the edges. So I'm going to get a brush that has no product on it, just a clean brush, and I'm just going to fix it up a bit. Take off, like subtract the bits that don't make sense. Okay, I think we're pretty good now. So I'm going to take my square brush and I'm going to go back to my foundation. And I'm going to use that around the edges as well. So that's giving me a straight line there when I just press it down and lift it up. So if you would like to be a makeup artist or a special effects artist, it's really great to practice all your artwork and your painting and drawing. And a good trick is if you make a star or something, to kind of create drama in your work, if you put something light beside it and then a dark outline, that really makes things stand out. So you're playing with light against dark to create drama or a contrast. So that's the shape I want. It's not perfect now, but it's okay. It'll do. So again, I'm just setting this with some eyeshadow. So if you use grease paint, you must set it with an eyeshadow. And set just kind of means to fix it. So grease paint is great to blend, but it's not great for getting precise lines. So I have a gold eyeshadow. I'm going to mix in some Pigment Transformer, so that'll give me a liquid. So let's see how this works. So a big brush is good for big areas and getting a kind of a smooth finish. But I'll have to use a smaller brush in a minute to get in and out of all those little areas that I'm missing. So this brush has a beautiful little tip, so it's really good for details. Here we go, that's exactly perfect the way I want it. So it's nice and vibrant. The gold is lovely with the red as well. Okay, I'm not happy with this part. So water-based paints are great for getting a strong line. So a line with a crisp edge is what I mean. Whereas grease paints are good for blending. So I'm just going to go over this with some water paint. Try and get a better line. Yeah, it's a bit better. So this is a black water-based paint. So the trick with face paint is to not have it too runny and not have it too thick. So just in between is kind of like not as thick as toothpaste but not as runny as water. So somewhere in between that consistency is what you need. Okay, let's see, are these even? Not exactly, but we'll make them even now. So like we did on our last character, I focused on making the line really thin at the beginning and then thicker. Going down into a point. So I need to top up my brush again so I have enough product. So let's see, is this the same? Yeah, it looks pretty good. And once you start your line, you're better off to just kind of commit to it and flow with the line rather than stopping and starting, because if you stop and start, you're not going to get a smooth line. So once you start, just stay going as much as possible. So you can see that this line is very smooth. I'm really happy with that one, whereas this one has a few dips in it. So I might just go over that one again. Okay, so I'm just going to go around the star with some black. So these comic book character style, pop art style figures are quite tricky. If you're good at drawing and you like that kind of a line, then it will suit you. Or if you're good at eyeliner, it's a good one. It's a good one to practice. But it is definitely challenging. Okay, I'm happy now. That's good. So I'm going to keep my reference image here. Can I get you to put your hair behind yours? Yeah, thank you so much. That's perfect. Thank you. So I think it's best if I work with the lines that are already there in Alicia's face. So you can see here what happens when the brush goes kind of dry, it's harder. I'll fix that in a sec. Relax. So I've given myself some tidying up to do. Okay, so we need to go back for some more red. So I have my outline done, so it's just filling it in, which makes it a lot easier. The outline is the tricky part. I love this colour red, it's really vibrant. So while I have that red on the brush, I'm going to do another layer on the star. And I'm going to use the gold again on the eyes. So usually if you have any eyeshadow sets at home, there's usually a gold somewhere in the set. And for the black you can use an eyeliner or a face paint. So the next thing I'm going to do is the brows. Just make them a bit darker. So don't be afraid to change the shape of the brow. You can just draw a darker one on. He's a comic character, so we want to exaggerate. Okay, get it the same is the trick. So we can measure using our brush. So I can see that it's quite high. It's about here, the one I drew over the side. So angle it up. And a square flat brush is the best brush for this. So the end is usually for highlights. So I'm going to get my white on a brush that you can get a good point on. So we're going to do a little highlight up here. So that's not ideal what happened me there. The white mixed with the red underneath. But I'm just going to have to keep going and see how I get on. I might put some red over it in a minute. To make the star stand out, I'm going to put some white beside the black, like what we were talking about earlier. You can use your finger to blend as well if you find it's too bright or you want it very subtle. So I'm just putting bits of white here or there. I find if you mix it up, it confuses the eye. So it's nice to do that sometimes, rather than one continuous line all the way around about. So I'm going to try and put a very thin line under the black. Okay, so it's basically anywhere we have a black line, just setting it off with a tiny touch of white. Okay, I'm going to just touch up the red lips again, because I think we have too much white on them there now, so. So we've kind of got the red mixed a bit too much with the white, so I want to go over that again until I get it to the right shade. Okay, perfect. Now the eyes. So we have some false lashes. So always be careful taking them off the plastic because they break easily. So these need to be trimmed because they're a bit too big for you. So if you're trimming lashes, you always cut from the end. So never from the inside because they're smaller on the inside, and that's very important. Because if you have, just to disguise them. Okay. Does that feel okay?
Yes.
Good. Okay, keep your eyes closed for a second. Oh, you haven't seen it yet. I meant to give you a camera so you could be, or a mirror so you could be looking as we go along. Now it's going to be a surprise. You're definitely the perfect model for this look. And open your eyes and we see. Ah! Hello, Wonder Woman. That's it, just so we're done. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you.